Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the greatest live show of all time. That is right, everybody. Today, we're back again for the second time. We're doing the second stream in a row. And all I can say is I can't wait to get started. But yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing well, you know? I noticed that whenever I do segment-oriented content, I struggle to not talk super fast. I wonder if it feels rushed when I do that, and if that decreases audience retention, ironically enough. Now, for me, it increases it, but that would be because, like, in terms of how much I would watch. But that's because I watch everything at a minimum of 2 times speed. With that being said, hello, Anon420 Serial, and congratulations on being the first person in chat. Hello, Hotel Guy. Hello, Limer. Hello, Vampire. Hello, Missouri Railroad Productions. Hello, Lil B. Hello, Sergio Oliveros. Hello, Jane Onyx07. Hello, Xylem Ponytails. My favorite trans, let's go. There's a scar on my forehead, trust for real, for real. This is true, by the way. I very much trust you and will absolutely take your word for it, no matter what, Florida man. Because everything that somebody says is always... Uh-oh, am I lagging? Well, that's... You know, the world is out to get me. Clearly. Can't believe this. But yeah, look, if somebody sees something when they're tripping balls on acid, that's how you know it's true. And that's when they see the most real stuff. Clearly. Also, hello, Froggy. Hello, Hotel Guy. Hello, I Love G-Way. Hello, Zane. Hello, Fixie Pixie. Hello, Lil B. Saying, how's it going? I'm doing alright. I'm doing alright. Yay, Femi's back. I sure am. I'm second. Well, congrats. No happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, Jane. Sorry, I must have missed that. I must have missed that. I can confirm I was a vampire true. You know, this is true. And clearly all we would ever need to go off of is anecdotal evidence. Because anecdotal evidence is always correct about everything. Imagine using data when you could use some schizophrenic person's account of what happened instead. That's right. Is that mascara? You better believe it is. But yeah, I've been doing mascara for the past like couple weeks now, maybe a few weeks would be accurate. Definitely not a month yet. We're getting closer to it being a month, I think. Femyoz, you can't hide the purple elephant. I know it's real. I've seen it in your backyard. Well, no, that's what I'm saying is there's a purple elephant in my backyard. And, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, it's an unfalsifiable claim and you just got to take my word for it. Okay, just trust me, bro. All right? You know, why would I ever make something like that up and make myself look crazy? Clearly, I know something that you don't. Only through me can you achieve a knowledge of the truth far greater than that of any ordinary person. Bro, I channeled my inner Palpatine for that one. Not in terms of the way I use my vocal cords, but in terms of the inflection and the way it's worded. Speaking of Star Wars, building a Lego Star Wars tank right now? Hell yeah. Crazy? Did you just say crazy? No, I did not say that word, Florida man. I did not say that. The purple elephant is so fake. Believe in Roland the Closet Goblin Sinners? You know, I don't know what that is, but it sounds very real. Anyways, did you restart stream? You better believe I did. You know, how else am I meant to, you know, do well in the algorithm and stuff? Though, you know, you guys can, of course, help with that if need be. If it were not if need be, but if you want. Which, you know, you could do by, you know, what you're doing right now by watching. I'm just saying, by continuing to watch, by chatting, and definitely double tapping to smash like, which you should all do. You know, of course, very important stuff. You know, it tells YouTube, hey, by the way, this person, she's pretty cool. We're going to recommend her a little bit more. How do you remember me from 7 months ago? I apologize. I do not. But just know if at any point I say that I do remember you, you'll know it's honest. So if you stick around and then I start to recognize you as a regular chatter, you'll know it's genuine. I feel like there definitely are streamers that would totally be willing to just tell someone, yeah, you look familiar. I've seen you before, when they've like have no recollection of that chatter. You know, just because it's like, well, you know, but it's like, I don't know. I don't like to lie like that. Am I weird for that, or are they the weird ones? I don't know. To be fair, being a content creator necessitates you be a quite strange individual and probably mentally ill. Name a single not mentally ill YouTuber. You can't. There's no such thing. Especially not one that, you know, bases their content off of their personality. You know. Women? Huh? I'm sorry, what did I just read? Why are most Western women lost women? I think that the only thing lost here is you in English class, because my oh my, that was not a real sentence, okay? That was the opposite of a real sentence. That was a fake sentence. Well, it wasn't a sentence. Calling it a sentence would be, well, a bit too charitable, if I must say so myself. Am I gay if I find you hot? Not if you're a guy, no. Fellas, is it gay to find women attractive? No, I actually don't think it is. I think it's actually quite, well, understandable, you know. A lot of straight men find trans women hot. Why? Because, I don't know, a lot of us just look like regular old cis women, you know? A lot of people, you know, for some of us. Not saying that's me, or that it's not me. I guess, I don't know how well I pass. It's hard to say. It just depends on what I'm wearing. But, you know, I guess it's sort of, you know, you get the point. You get the point. Yeah, I wonder too now, do you remember me? I do remember you, Amandalin86. You've been around for a while. But yeah, I do pay attention to who's in my chat, or at least I try my best to. You know, especially when people are here, when the viewers are down, like when the viewership is low, you'll absolutely want to tune in if chat's moving slower or the viewership is lower, because then that basically guarantees that I start to recognize you quite quickly, right? Like, it shows me, like, okay, you're not just here riding the wave. Like, you want to see my content. That's awesome. Curious, now do you remember little old me? Your name is familiar. I guess I'd say you're in familiar name. I've seen you before tier, if that makes sense. I don't remember anything about you. Maybe you were a schizo poster. I don't know. Like, not a schizo poster in a bad way, but more of like a, I don't know. I think. I don't know. You pass 100% to me. Let's go. Do you remember me? Floridia man? I don't know. I have no idea who you are. I don't know. You're just a regular old biological gray name. You will never be a blue name. All right? The gray username is inscribed in your DNA. All right? It doesn't matter how many surgical alterations you get. You are a biological gray name. What's your solution for morning wood? Don't wake up until the afternoon, and then it'll be afternoon wood, and then you won't have any more morning wood. Think about it. It's genius. That's right. You'd never experience it again. But you have a joystick. Is all you think about other people's genitalia? That's quite strange if it is. Now, me personally, when I interact with people, the first things that I bring up usually aren't, you know, what's underneath their pants. Kind of a strange thing to do. Kind of fucking weird. Anyways. Let's see here. Do you want to be my best friend? I'm going to be so real, I have no clue who you are. Very sorry about that. But, I'm not going to lie to you either. And say, yes, we're best. Well, I don't know. Maybe as like a meme, I might say, yes, we're best friends now. I accidentally look and it's get awkward. Huh? I don't know what that means. If you just always stay hard, you'll never have morning wood. That's true. It would just be 24/7 would. Hello, the Nugget. Hope you're doing well. I enjoy your content. Why, thank you. Why, thank you. Happy Pride Month. Happy Pride Month to you as well, Adrian. Happy Pride Month to you as well. Anyways, I hope you're all doing well. Otherwise, I will be very sad. You know what to do with your channel? Kinda. I mean, do I really know what I'm doing? I would wager no. I'm doing all of this on the spot. I have no clue what I'm doing. I barely know how the YouTube algorithm works. I don't know if this will be a long-term sustainable career one day or if we'll have to do something else, which is the latter option. It seems more likely, but, you know, it really depends. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. I get a lot of people that say like, oh, once you get your like core audience and, you know, you sort of built that up and, you know, you have some amount of people that are watching you and supporting you. And, you know, you've got like the audience that you have, Femyoz, like that you've already overcome the most difficult hurdle. But I always hear that from non-YouTubers for some reason. I always hear that from people that aren't content creators. I don't know. I've also heard it from content creators as well, but I think that's also sort of like a retrospective bias where it's like, yeah, well, over the years, they sort of learned how to make content. And like, yeah, when they didn't know what they were doing at all versus now they have like a vague understanding kind of what they do sometimes, maybe. Like a vague notion at least. It's like, yeah, that's going to make a big difference, of course. It's like, well, yeah, obviously that the first 1,000 subscribers, you know, you felt like you were fighting for every one of them. You know what I mean? Like, of course. But like in terms of like, you know, knowing, I don't know, what I do now. It's like, I don't know. I think you get the point. Like I will say, getting my first 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time, it was kind of difficult, but I don't know. It feels like getting to where I am now is way easier than going from where I am now to like a super, you know, like not like a sustainable position. Like doing this sustainably is like a full-time career. Like that seems way more out there and way less likely. I don't know. In the past, if you would asked me, I probably would have thought differently. I probably would have been like, well, it's going to be the case that getting like, I don't know, 50,000 subscribers and an audience that will consistently watch your streams and even sometimes donate to you, you know, you've accomplished the hardest part, which is gaining your core audience. And, you know, it's sizable enough to sort of, you know, promote what you do a little bit, right? And then you could sort of go from there, right? Because I guess in hindsight, I have this like sort of retrospective bias where it's like I look back and it's like, well, yeah, of course I ended up here, but like I didn't know that. I didn't know that this would be the end result. I didn't know that streaming, when I streamed vertically for the first time in YouTube Shorts, I was on my phone in my basement on cellular data because the Wi-Fi doesn't work down there. And it was very late at night, so I was in my basement because I didn't want to wake anybody up. And I wanted to be able to be loud and annoying. And I was like in the mood to do a little bit of schizo posting. And I had remember seeing like a week prior, something in my YouTube app that said something like, oh, we introduced a new feature where it's like you can stream in shorts. And I'm like, I want to experiment with that. And I thought that like, okay, maybe I'll get like slightly more concurrence than I usually do. Right? That's what I thought going into it. And then when I actually went into it, it was wild. It was not what I expected. It was far more successful. And keep in mind, you know, this was back in a time where averaging 20 concurrents even was really good. That was like one of my best streams type of shit. You know what I mean? Like that's like, holy shit, that's a good ass stream. Right? I was nowhere. God made you perfect, why change? Well, this is entirely paradoxical, right? So if God made me perfect, right, that would necessitate that the way that he constructed my, like the neurophysiological reactions in my brain, as well as my brain chemistry itself, as well as him, you know, influencing / directly causing the hormone washing that occurs within the womb before I was even born, right? Which is a likely cause for people being trans, is, well, hormone washing that occurs within the womb before we're even born, then it seems like all the evidence would be in favor of this supposed God of yours wanting me to be trans. If he didn't want me to be trans, then why would he give me gender dysphoria? Why would he give me this innate desire to be a woman instead of a guy? It doesn't seem very logical. You know, if he didn't want me to be trans, he could just not make me like that. Also, hello, Tipster. Good to see you. And thank you, Dank Gabe, for the 140. Very much appreciated. God invented cigarettes for you specifically. How very loving of thy neighbor. What can I say? The most loving of thy... I think God loves all children as they are, TBH. Even Hitler? I'm sorry. I had to. I mean, come on. I had to. I had to do the even Hitler compare. I mean, come on. It's not a Femyoz stream if I'm not comparing stuff to literally Adolf Hitler. I mean, come on. Pick a number 1 through 10. 6.9. Because that's like the funny sex number. And you know, that's why you should laugh. Oof, these comments are exactly what I expected. Yeah. Not be like that. It be like that. It be like that. Dude, maybe I should do the voice switching thing again. Where it's like I gotta focus. I gotta focus. Alright, wait, hold on. Videos? Video section. I wanted to get to let's see. I wanna find the first one of these that I ever did. Alright? Because it's like not people are horrible. I'm sorry about them. Yeah, no worries. I mean, it doesn't really affect me anymore, that's for sure. But like this was the first vertical live stream that I ever did, okay? So if you look here, right, total views is a little bit deceiving, right? I guess I gained 185 subscribers, and that was like huge. But like, keep in mind, like averaging 20 concurrents back then was like a really good stream. This was like, and this was a shitty phone stream. So I was like, holy shit. Okay. It's like I'd never gotten even close to this. Right. So I'm like, well, I got to keep doing this because it's working. And well, here we are, I guess. But it's had its ups and downs. It's more complex than simply, oh, you know, you just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And it will always work because the algorithm is, you know, remaining constant. Because of course, that's not how the algorithm works. That would be too easy. That would give content creators like me too much of a sense of security and stability on the platform. We wouldn't want that, okay? We need the algorithm to magically change on a whim without telling anybody that it changes or how it's changed or why it's changed or what to do in response to said changes. You just got to figure it out, you know? Me having to restart stream in order to get that initial boost if the stream dies, you know, I had to figure that out. You know what I mean? Algorithm is the real God for real. Yeah, like, why bother worshiping Jesus or Allah or whoever the fuck when clearly the YouTube algorithm is what's really in control? I mean, come on. Now, is praying to the YouTube algorithm gods going to do anything? Most likely not. They don't really seem to answer your prayers, though. To be fair, that doesn't really distinguish them from any other deity, now does it? Anyways. If you had faith, you would mutilate yourself? Faith in what? Do you mean like do you mean circumcision? Yeah, I think that, I don't think that anyone should be forced to be circumcised. I don't think that babies should be circumcised. Because that is literal mutilation, right? Sure you agree with that? Or, oh no, that's different, because that's like their religious right. No, that's their religious right. Don't fucking care. They can do it when they're 18. Like, why do they need to be, like, why do you need to do that beforehand? Like, why? Just fucking why? Also, thank you, Needy, for the 1.2 pounds. Very much appreciated. I want to breed you. Incredible chat message. You know, this is exactly how you get a row, a line, a plethora even of attractive women to all line up in a single file line for you specifically because they all want to see you. Early live stream, hell yeah. It's not done for religious reasons. I think that's pretty sure that's how it started, but I mean, maybe there's like a different modern reason. Why are babies circumcised? Okay. All right. According to the AI slop, and we all know that the AI slop is always right. Babies are circumcised for a combination of health, cultural, and religious reasons, which is basically what I already believe. What is the point of circumcision? Dude, I scrolled down. I scrolled down to like these little thingies that people also ask. And I'm like, oh, okay, so there's going to be like a source attached to one of these, right? Like, what is the point of circumcision? Oh, great. More AI slop, the very thing I was trying to avoid. Is there like a setting to turn off the AI slop? I want real answers from real sources. All right? Not what skidded ChatGPT has to tell me, okay? Jesus. You can type dash AI. Oh, shit. I didn't even know that. Dash AI. Thank you. That's really helpful. Okay. Let's see. Circumcision is a religious and cultural tradition for many Jewish and Islamic families, as well as certain indigenous peoples. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Sometimes there's a medical medical need for circumcision, in which case, like, obviously, right? But like, if like a baby is perfectly healthy, why circumcise them? If it's not causing any issues, like, why not allow them to make that decision for themselves when they're older? Well, what the fuck do you think is gonna happen? Like, you think they're not gonna be able to do it? And I'm ultimately up to them. Kind of messed up, gang. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Like, apparently, conservatives are delusional. Well, that's the understatement of the century, but for whatever reason, they believe that allowing trans kids to go on puberty blockers, which are reversible and you could just go off of and go through a normal puberty, they think that that's child mutilation and that's evil. And how dare you? That's like, how dare you do that? Giving them reversible puberty blockers so that they're not forced to go through a miserable puberty that makes them suicidal, makes their life a living hell. Because, you know, dysphoria is a thing. It's a real medical condition that exists, if you can believe that. Well, how dare you treat gender dysphoria for anyone under the age of 18? Some people are fucking freaks, like ultra mega freaks, and they'll be like, no, not until 25. That's when your brain is fully developed. It's like, okay, so you think I, a 21-year-old, should be forced to detransition? Okay. Good to know. Good to know. But then circumcising a literal infant for no reason other than, well, my religion told me to do it, lol, LMAO. God said to do it. It's like, oh, okay, so that's fine, I guess. It's like, okay, well, that seems a bit dumb. That's a bit of a double standard. Look, I'm sorry, but like the cleanliness argument doesn't fucking, like, that doesn't work. Just wash your foreskin, okay? In the wise words of Jordan Peterson, go wash your foreskin. All right? It's not impossible to wash. People do it all the time. There are plenty of people who do it on a daily basis because that's like that's what people do. If you can believe that. Wash it for me, please, is crazy. But yeah. Respect religion, girl. Why? Like, just because people hold something in such high esteem doesn't mean that I automatically respect it, right? Respect is something that is earned, at least for me. You know? Like, I'm not immediately going to give complete, unquestioning respect for somebody's worldview or the things that they believe or their religion or any of that. I mean, sure, I'm not going to go out of my way to be an asshole. I'm not going to go to a fucking church and tell a bunch of churchgoers, hey, you're all delusional. Satan mogs you. W Satan, L God, Jesus died, R.I.P. Bozo. I'm not going to go around doing that. I'm not going to go to a church and do that. You know, that's their space. And I respect that. And if somebody is religious, I don't view them as lesser, you know, as long as they're, you know, not a freak about it. As long as they're like not a bad person. That's what I care about. I mean, at the end of the day, I from my perspective, right? From what I see, there are people that have what at least I would consider to be objectively incorrect views of the world. Like they're just like factually wrong, right? But they're still good people. There's like a lot of people are wrong about stuff or don't know about stuff, and that's fine. Like I don't care as long as you have good intent. Anyways, people have the same view about trans people. The same view. What do you mean the same view about trans people? Because I think that you're making a very strange comparison. Because being trans isn't a religion, it's a medical condition. Well, it can be a medical condition. Gender dysphoria is a medical condition, and there's treatment for that. And that's sort of what I was getting into. But beyond that, right? Like being trans is like has more to do with like a personal identity and like the way that your personal gender identity interfaces with society. It's going to be a component of that, right? Like we're talking about like an internal perception of oneself and how it relates, I guess, in most cases to the feminine and masculine social archetypes that exist within our society, right? And that's sort of where that stems from, right? Transgender is not delusional. Well, no. Like as a trans woman, what's my false belief? Like we could go down this line of dialogue for the 5 trillionth time for anyone that hasn't heard it. You know, I guess it has been a while, but I mean, do you have a penis? Right to the genitalia. Maybe you could ask a better question than, what's your genitalia? Like ask something normal. Like talk normal. That you're a woman? So my false belief is that I'm a woman. Okay. When I refer to myself as a woman, what do you think I mean by that? I want actual answers that I'd like to see. Now, something tells me that people aren't going to be very good at giving me actual answers. So when I refer to myself as a woman, what do you think I mean by that? Let's see. You have vagina? Nope, that is not what I mean. When I refer to myself as a woman, I am not making a statement about whether or not I have a vagina. That's a very, but I mean, I guess if that's what you view people as is just their genitals, I mean, that's very strange. But what does woman mean? Well, I already defined it, right? So that would just refer to somebody that identifies within the feminine social archetype in society. Right? We're talking about like an accumulation of like a neurophysiological construct with a societal construct, right? That's sort of what it boils down to. Let's see. Circular definition? No, a circular definition is when the word itself is included in the definition defining said word. At no point did I use the word woman in my definition, right? So if my definition of the word woman is somebody that identifies with the feminine social archetype, at no point do I say the word woman, right? But let me guess, you weren't actually paying attention to what I was saying because you have pre-prepared anti-trans talking points that you heard from whatever conservative outlet that you normally watch, right? XY chromosomes? Huh? Wait, when I call myself a woman, what do you think I mean by that? I haven't seen any responses. Maybe you relate to femininity. I'm trying to see. Dude, chat's moving a little bit fast for this. Hope I didn't miss any. Let's see. If you can have a child, you're a woman. If you can't, you're a man. So infertile women are men. Good to know. Wait, what about like or like what about like old women that have already gone through menopause? Like, do they magically become men? Like, according to your view, right? Like, if a woman goes through menopause and, you know, her eggs are all dried up, right? She has lost the capacity to give birth, okay? She's never having kids again, right? She's too old for that, right? If the necessary condition for being a woman is the capacity to give birth, and a sufficient condition for being a man is not having said capacity, then older women who no longer have the capacity to give birth, as well as cis women that have, or biological females or whatever the fuck you want to call them, that are infertile, you would classify them as men, right? Also, thank you, Techno Bacon Boy, for the 5, saying, so if I identify with the archetype of a feminine lifestyle, can I use any women's bathroom? Well, yeah, if you're a trans woman, then yeah, go for it. Like, I don't see what the issue would be. But it's not just like a feminine lifestyle, right? It's like there's going to be a distinction between like simply living a lifestyle versus like an archetype, right? When we're talking about like a societal archetype, like an archetype of person, like we're talking about, in this instance, very broad categories, right? If we're talking about the masculine and feminine archetypes, those are very wide categories. And you have to have a somewhat wide definition in order, like if I'm going to define woman, right? My definition must necessarily include all women and exclude all not women. Now, that's not something that conservatives can do, right? Right? Because then they'll say adult human female, right? And then be like, okay, what is a female? Like, what are the necessary and sufficient conditions to be classified as female? And then we get into that whole argument, and then it goes from there. And then we bring up intersex people, and there are plenty of intersex people that don't perfectly fit the sex binary, right? Because if you can believe it, sex is a bimodal distribution, not a binary, right? And you trap them in a logical contradiction, right? And let me explain what that is. Long story short, you cannot believe that there are only two genders while simultaneously believing that sex and gender are the same thing. It's logically impossible. The reason being that there are not just two sexes. Sex isn't a binary, it's a bimodal distribution, right? A binary means only two possible outcomes in terms of biological sex, no exceptions. If there are exceptions, then it necessarily cannot be a binary, right? And because there are exceptions, it is not a binary, it is a bimodal distribution, right? So you would either have to A, concede that there is more than two genders, and that gender, in virtue of the fact that, in your view, is exactly the same as sex, meaning it can be used interchangeably, is also something that it would be represented best as a bimodal distribution. In which case, would you be in favor of, I don't know, say for instance, if somebody is born with both sets of genitals, or like maybe they have some sort of mosaicism, which is why I would get into defining sex to see like, okay, what are the criteria that you look for? So like if we're talking about like chromosomal mosaicism and somebody having both sets of genitalia, right, etc., like what would you classify them as, right? Do they get to be non-binary? Are they like, in your view, because sex and gender are the same thing, biologically non-binary? As a consequence, like should they be forced to use the gender neutral restrooms, or is it the case that they should be able to, like, I don't know, pick one or the other? And if they should be able to pick one or the other, then you would have to concede that, oh, it's actually the case that, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't really make any sense now, does it? The whole thing that I believed prior, like, oh, if you're willing to make a distinction, between, I don't know, say for instance, somebody's sex and gender in that case, then you are conceding to the fact that sex and gender necessarily aren't the same thing, because you're not using them interchangeably in that case. You are using some other factor to describe things, right? A more social factor. Perhaps the intersex person with both sets of genitalia is somebody that you believe should have the right to live as either gender in society, right? That might be the logical conclusion to that, which it is. Right? The logical conclusion to that is ultimately going to be the fact that, okay, well, if we apply your logic broadly, there's no reason why that wouldn't include trans people. You would have to draw some sort of symmetry breaker? Why is it the case that intersex people don't have to have their gender completely aligned with their biological sex, but trans people do? Question mark. Anyways, it's a medical condition. So they are a medical condition gender. Is that your position? You know, I see a lot of that. It's like, okay, so like, if sex and gender are the same thing, and there are only two of them, then what gender are intersex people? And whenever I ask that, I get a lot of responses like, well, that's an exception. So they're exception gender. No. That's a deformity. So you would classify them in a third category, known as deformity gender. I see. Sounds like some woke made up neo-gender stuff. What can I say? No. It's an anomaly. It doesn't happen very often. So because it doesn't happen very often means it doesn't exist. You're just avoiding the question. How do you categorize those specific cases? If your framework is incapable of categorizing it, right? If you are able to, if you are not able to adequately categorize their sex and gender in exactly the same way, then you necessarily don't actually believe that sex and gender are the same, whether you realize it or not. Anyways, it's deformity, which means they are both genders. So does that mean like they're gender fluid? Like, do they get to be? Do they get like special pronoun privileges where they get to be he/he, or some shit? Or should they be like go by they them? Like, do they get to be like any and all pronoun users? And like, do they get to decide when or like I don't know. Just make it make sense. Anyways, also I think I might have forgot to read this donation. Thank you, Felix XD, for the £2. Sorry I didn't read this sooner. Saying transphobia is mean. I agree. Sorry, I was yapping a lot. So I kind of missed that for a sec. But yeah. Double tap the smash like if transphobia is bad, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I might not have the entire correct audience or whatever for that. A lot of anti-trans people here. Also, thank you, Techno Bacon Boy, for the 5, saying, so I've got a plastic surgery to change my facial structure. So you can't tell I have a penis? Can I use the women's bathroom? Well, yeah, of course. You don't even have to get FFS to use the women's restroom. Like, why would you? Now, in terms of safety and practical advice and what I would advise, like if you're a trans woman, right? But like, you're still like boy moding or man moding in public, right? And you're like still presenting as a guy, and like maybe you have like facial hair. I probably, for your own, like the sake of your own safety, might not use the women's restroom. But I wouldn't like, I don't know, morally condemn you for it. I would just say like, I don't know, just use whichever one is safer, essentially, right? But I'm definitely at a point where it's like, okay, I'm significantly safer and more comfortable in the women's. Like, I'm sorry, but like, men's restrooms are horrifying, okay? At least to me, they are. Also, thank you, Tears for Tacos, for the 5. Saying, would saying you're not a biological woman while still recognizing you're a woman be offensive? No, it wouldn't be offensive, but it would be slightly factually incorrect. There's no such thing as a biological woman. And what I mean by that is, woman refers to gender, right? The term you'd be looking for is biological female. And it would be perfectly reasonable to recognize that I'm not a biological female, because I'm not one, right? I'm assigned male at birth, right? If I was a biological female, then I would just be a cis woman. Like, what exactly would I be transitioning to and from? Female to female? Of course not, right? So, no, it's not offensive to make that distinction, right? I think it's perfectly reasonable. Trans women are women. In fact, we are real women. That doesn't mean that we're biologically female, right? That's the entire point of the sex-gender distinction in the first place, right? No trans woman is going around thinking that they are actually the opposite sex. Nobody is doing this. There aren't trans women going around, looking down at their dick being like, oh yes, that is my vagina. I actually see a vagina down there, right? They're not confused. They're not confused about their chromosomes, right? I don't know. But I think a lot of people aren't willing to approach that in good faith. Wig or real hair? It's my real hair. My real hair. Been growing it out for a long time. It's very... anything kind of dry right now. Oh well. Which is strange because I put quite a bit of product in it. Maybe I used the hairdryer too much. I don't know. The meanest mod is now online. Thank you, Techno Bacon Boy, for the 5, saying, so my 4-year-old daughter used the same women's restroom, and you're saying that the only issue, the trans person feeling safe? Huh? Hold on, I could just like point to like the statistical likelihood of like a trans woman, like a trans woman going to the men's restroom, the likelihood of them getting assaulted, right? If you want, right? It's not just like a feeling, right? I mean, I guess I brought up my anecdotes, like briefly, but that wasn't like the crux of the argument. Does that make sense? The crux of the argument would be you are more likely to get assaulted as a trans woman if you go into the men's restroom. It also seems to be the case that trans women are statistically no more likely to assault cis women than cis women are. So it therefore logically follows that there is no logical reason to exclude trans women from the women's restrooms when statistically that seems like the most optimal thing to do is to include us, right? Seems like it would lead to the least assault, the least amount of people harmed. There's like the obvious correct solution. Also, thank you, Mauve, for the £2 saying happy Pride. Happy Pride to you as well. Look, I'm going to be so real. I don't want to, I don't know, get raped. So that's kind of one of the reasons I don't use the men's restroom anymore. It's like, I'd rather actually not get assaulted in public. You know, it's like a preference. It's one of those preferences that I have. Hey, thank you for the 2. I'm sorry I can't pronounce your name, but thank you for the 2 saying, do you play any games? If so, what's your favorite? I don't game that much anymore, but my favorite is definitely Minecraft. Also, thank you, Techno Baby, for the 5 saying, would you be opposed to making a specific bathroom for trans men and women? Kind of. And I'll explain why. I'm in favor of gender-neutral restrooms. I'd actually be fine with all restrooms being gender-neutral. The reason that I'm against that is because, in many cases, if we out ourselves in public, we make ourselves way more vulnerable to hate crimes. Right? There are going to be many instances or many locations where it's like, it's not safe to do anything but blend in. Right? And like, if it's somebody like me, I don't know how fucking well I could boy mode. Realistically at this point. Right? So if somebody sees me coming out of the fucking trans women bathroom, then it's like, okay, now they know I'm a trans woman, and anyone that's looking to assault a trans woman is going to specifically have an eye on me. Right? And that's terrifying. Right? I'd rather just be gender neutral restrooms where it's like, fucking anybody can use them. You know. Also, thank you, Tears for Tacos, for the $1.99. Saying fair point. Distinguishing bio-female and bio-woman. Well, biological woman isn't a thing. A woman isn't a biological term. It's it's in reference to the feminine social archetype, right? Where it's a social term for the most part, right? Whereas female is a biological term, right? So that would be the distinction. Thank you, Techno Bacon Boy, for the 5 saying you're actually fine with all restrooms being being all gender. Wait, make that make sense. By that I mean, and hold on. Hold on, what was it? It was like airport bathroom design gender neutral. Hold on. Okay, it's like if they're nice bathrooms where like it's like an individual room for each one. Look at this shit. This is objectively better than what we have, okay? Fucking look at this shit. If all bathrooms were like this, like we would live in a better society, okay? They all have their own individual toilet and toilet paper and whatnot. I think they might each have their own urinal, their own changing station, their own sink, their own hand dryer, right? It's like I'm sorry, this is objectively better than what we currently have. Are you telling me that you actually are in favor of keeping it the way it is? Oh, yes. I actually love how, you know, if I want to take a shit in a public restroom that, like, I get to feel terrified that, like, what if some insane person, like, crawls under the door or is, like, peeking through the thing? It's like, I don't want to have to worry about that. That's terrifying. Maybe that's an irrational fear that I don't know. Woman definition. 1. An adult human being. Female human being. Wait, hold on. Do you think that definitions are descriptive or prescriptive, right? Because the way that we use language is prescriptive, right? Like we prescribe meaning to words, right? But in terms of definitions, definitions merely describe the way that we use words, right? So that can change over time. And there could be multiple definitions to words, right? So for instance, if we look at woman definition, right? That's going to be one of the definitions, right? You look here. Here's another one. Here's another definition. Oh, what's this? And this is under woman, by the way. A person with qualities traditionally associated with females. Oh. Now, I prefer referring to women as like a woman as someone that identifies within the feminine social archetype, because I find that it's like a more precise and concise definition than that. But I feel like this sort of gets it a similar concept, right? But you can't just take one definition and say that's the objectively correct one and then ignore all of the other definitions that say different things for different ways in which the word has been used. Because actually, we don't find words with definitions in the wild. We don't fucking discover these. We don't discover English words in the fucking jungle with definitions attached to them. We don't discover flashcards in the wild with words and definitions on the back. Okay? We decide what words mean in terms of how we use them. Also, thank you, Techno Bacon Boy, for the 5, saying, I agree that bathroom is much better than a 2-foot gap near the floor, but I can grape you on the floor outside the stall once you come out. No problem. Okay, well, to be fair, it would be a lot easier to install security cameras outside of those, right? Which would be, I mean, it's not gonna like fully stop something, but I'm gonna be so real. Like, what exactly? Because like you could say the same thing for restrooms as they are. Like in a public space, someone could just stand outside the women's restroom and rape whoever comes out first. They could do that with somebody who's probably gonna walk by. Anyways, you say feminine archetype is the definition of a woman? No, pay attention. I said that someone that identifies within the feminine social archetype. Try again. Listen before you respond to what you're supposedly arguing against. Especially if you're going to say it multiple times. Like if you're going to make a supposed counter argument and you're going to say it multiple times, like at least respond to the argument that I actually made. And not some, like, pretend watered down version of my argument. But, yeah. Anyways. What criteria do femboys fall under? Well, they identify as men, don't they? They identify as men, then that's what they are. Are they not? But yeah. What are your views on trans kids? Yep, they exist just as much as cis kids do. They too have a tendency to exist, if you can believe that. I know, it's crazy. Who would have guessed? When is straight month? I don't know. Y'all can figure it out. Y'all can organize. Y'all can figure out how to set up straight month if you need. Are these real questions? What the hell is going on? Unfortunately, it's hard to tell these days. If you're a woman, define what one is. I did like 30 seconds ago. Did you just tune in? Surely you didn't just tune in, did you? Anyways. Trans rights are human rights? Real. Did Techno Bacon Boy get banned? What? No. I don't think he should be banned. If he wants to, like, donate $5 to, like, argue with me per message, I'm totally fine with that. Also, I don't really ban people for disagreeing with me. Right? It's only if, like, somebody is, like, explicitly, like, super hateful or whatever. But if somebody's like, I don't know, like trying to like make an argument, then it's like I'm not gonna ban them usually. You're just spewing garbage all day. Incredible counter argument. What made you want to become gay? Well, I just kind of am gay. Nothing made me want to be gay. I mean, I don't know. I just kind of am, okay? You know, I'm just a little bit fruity. You know, it's okay. Yeah, no, I always find it hilarious when there are people that unironically believe that, like, children are actually getting sexual reassignment surgery. Like, where is this happening? Name one example. Oh, wait, you can't because it doesn't exist. There's no such thing. W young shit's transitioning under 50. Dude, I am so jealous of people that start transitioning younger. I would have killed to have started transitioning as soon as I hit puberty. But I never got that opportunity now, did I? And I get to suffer the consequences as a result. Because I don't pass as well as I'd like to. Rare W, are you against people? Don't silence them. Yeah, I mean, look, the way that I sort of run it is, I guess, I don't know. My view is people can disagree with me. I'm totally fine with that. But, like, I don't know. Like, if somebody's just, like, saying slurs or they're spamming, right? Or whatever the fuck. And they're not really saying much of anything. Then it's like, okay. Then my mods usually ban those people. Anyways. I mean, is at least 70% password? Oh, wait, you're trans. Stop. Yo, you pass amazing. You in high school? No, I'm in college. I started HRT at 25. Look, it's never too late to start HRT if you're trans and you want HRT. You know, the best time to start was yesterday. Second best time to start is today. All right, that's how I view it, at least. That's just my opinion, I guess. That's reasonable. I'd say, like, I'm definitely in twink hun territory. You know, for the two people here that are familiar with 4chan TTTT brain rot terminology. But anyways, let's see. Yes, sure. Oh no, you don't pass as female as well as you'd like to, but supporting underage gender care has led to many lives being ruined / majorly damaged. Well, it seems like the literal opposite of what you're saying is true, right? It seems to be the case that when people are given access to gender affirming care, including when they're minors, right? It's just like necessary medical care for their well-being in terms of their mental health and whatnot. It seems to improve their overall mental health, right? The regret rates are consistently extremely low. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's a coinky dink? Is it just a magical coincidence that all of the regret rates are super low and that less than 1% of people that transition end up regretting it? Oh, it must just be a coincidence. But I guess you think that the less than 1%, that the fraction of a percent of trans people that end up regretting it, you know, their regret ought to supersede the well-being of the rest of the trans community, I guess. You know, I guess one person that makes a wrong, well, it wouldn't just be them making a wrong decision. It would have to be, like, if we're talking about like a minor, it would be them with the consent of their parents and the recommendation of a doctor. Like, a doctor would have to prescribe it to them after they get diagnosed with gender dysphoria, which has strict criteria, and their parents would have to agree with it. So, like, sorry, but if a wrong decision is made there, then, like, for that one specific kid, like, that should ruin it for everybody else. Like, are you the type of person that's unironically in favor of, like, I don't know, collective punishment? You seem like you might be. Because that's basically what it is. It's like, okay, so you want to collectively punish us because one person made a wrong decision? That's fucking stupid. Why should I suffer the consequences of somebody else's dumb actions? Doesn't make any sense to me now, does it? Like, oh yeah, ruin it for the rest of us. You know? Does it suck not being able to engage in any political discussion without your status as trans being dragged into it? Yeah, it kind of does. It kind of does. Because, like, people that disagree with me are automatically a lot less likely to hear me out when I make certain arguments, right? Even if they're totally unrelated to me being trans. Simply because, you know, in their view, trans people are bad. You know? Anyways. You're, with the wrong you're, pretty much a loser who cherry picks chat. Dude, I must have cherry picked this one as well, so you can sound smart, but have Redditor arguments and no proof. Okay. Dude. It's my lay Reddit tier arguments with no proof. I just sound really smart somehow. I didn't know that I sound. Honestly, I don't really think of myself as sounding smart. I just say what I think. I don't know. OMG, we didn't order a yep. Wait, okay. I mean, were they spamming though? If they were spamming, that was their only message. I don't know if they should be banned for that. I don't know if. They were okay. Whatever. Anyways, counterpoint. You're trans. Yeah. No, unironic. That is sort of how people view it a lot of times. It's like I don't know. People are less likely to give things that I say consideration because it's like, oh, you're part of this minority group, I guess. And it's like, okay, great, wonderful. But it's like if somebody else that was like a cis dude presented the same exact arguments in the same manner with the same logical basis and rhetorical approach, it's like, okay, I don't know. People receive it a little bit differently. I don't know. I guess one thing that I've learned, and maybe this is good, maybe this is bad, in terms of me learning it. I'd say it's good that I learned it. It's bad that I had to learn it. Is certain people cannot afford to be apolitical their whole lives, right? You know, I had the luxury of getting to choose to be apolitical growing up, right? Now, I was miserable for other reasons, right? Reasons that made me far more miserable than I've ever been as a trans person, right? But there was one plus side, which was that I wasn't seen as political for existing. And what I mean by that is I could just ignore politics and it didn't matter to me, right? It's not going to affect me. Why the fuck would it matter to me? Right? Maybe it does in like a more abstract or like economic sense, but for all intents and purposes, right? Like I was seen in society as like a straight white dude, right? My rights weren't being attacked. Nobody is a fucking attacking straight white people at rights or whatever, right? But it's like, and it's I eventually come out as trans. I start HRT and whatnot, and you know, it's like I realize like, oh shit, there's like states that are trying to pass legislation in order to like, you know, ban us from using, you know, the bathrooms that are statistically less likely to have us get raped. By the way, should trans men be forced to use women's bathrooms? People oftentimes forget that trans men exist. It's like, I mean, yeah, sure, they were assigned female at birth, but there are big, hulking trans men out there with, you know, big man muscles and beards. And they just look like cis men. Like, you're telling me, like, hold on. Fuck Angel. Fuck Angel's a little bit of a schizo, but yeah. But you're telling me that you would rather have this man, you'd rather this guy go in the women's restroom than me. You think women would be more would be comfortable with this guy right here because of his XX chromosomes. They're totally comfortable with this guy walking in the women's restroom, but they're not comfortable with me? I don't believe that for a second. Yeah, that's clearly a biological female. You see, if I were to enter the women's restroom and see that, I would, in my mind, calculate their exact shoulder to head ratio proportion thing, and use my I don't even use my chromosome scanner on them to make sure they belong. Anyways, that makes sense. I like your reasoning. I have a tendency to say things that are very illogical, and I appreciate that. They were born women, they should use a women's bathroom. You think this guy right here belongs in the women's restroom? I'm sorry, what? You think this guy, who was born as a biological female with XX chromosomes, he's been out as a trans dude for ages now, he's a trans man. You think this guy belongs in the women's restroom? You think that he would just blend right in? You don't think he would stick out like a sore thumb? I'll tell you what, he wouldn't stick out like a sore thumb in the men's restroom. He'd fit right in there because he looks like a fucking dude. Anyways. Let's see. Again, like for anyone that's like confused about this, okay? Who belongs in the women's restroom more? Me or this guy over here, okay? This trans man. This big hulking muscular trans man with a beard. Do you think that he would stand out less than me in the women's restroom or more than me in the women's restroom? Okay? Because anyone that says that he would stand out less than me is lying. Yeah, but he's so clearly a female. Exactly. Anyways. Okay, I'm bored by. You can both wait and use the private bathroom? Why? Like, I'm sorry, but like, I don't see the issue in just going to the fucking bathroom. Like, I'm gonna be so real. If I just go to the women's restroom, okay? And then I don't know, do what everybody else does. I pee and then wash my hands and leave. Because some of you motherfuckers probably don't wash your hands because you're disgusting. But I don't see what the issue is. Like, I'm 5'6". I don't really look like a dude anymore. I look kind of androgynous. I don't feel safe in the men's restroom. There's a reason for that. There's a reason I have that instinct. Gender neutral restrooms for the win? Exactly. Well, I agree with that. Right? Now, I believe that all buildings should be required to have gender neutral restrooms that are easily accessible. That's my position. A lot of conservatives disagree with that. They think that that's woke. So, if you don't feel safe, use the private bathroom. I mean, I'm going to be real. What if there is none? Then what? What if there's no private bathroom? Then what? Because not every building has one. Like, yeah, in an ideal scenario, there would always be a gender-neutral restroom that I would use anyway. Even if I was a cis woman, I would use it. Because I just don't like public restrooms. We should have separate but equal bathrooms just for trans people. Why does that sound familiar? Because it's familiar. It's very familiar. But yeah, no, having like a trans woman bathroom and trans men bathroom, it's just like, oh, walking out of there is a great way to guarantee that you get hate crimed if you don't live somewhere safe, because then there's a target on your back for being trans, basically. But yeah. Opinion on the drug epidemic. I'm gonna be so real. Criminalizing people for, I don't know, having substance issues, I mean, seems a bit ridiculous. I don't think anybody should be punished for victimless crimes. At all. Period. I think that instead of, I don't know, punishing them and refusing to see them as people or treat them as such, maybe, I don't know, a better scenario would be rehabilitate them, help them, give them psychological care. It's like, why should somebody be punished for, what, having a drug addiction? Like, what do you think causes somebody to have a drug addiction? Generally, negative circumstances in their life that push them over the edge and cause them to say, fuck it, and do whatever when it comes to drugs. Disregarding whether or not it's laced or whatever. Doesn't matter. Right? Just fuck it. Make the pain go away. And you think that those people deserve to be punished. Also, thank you, R. St. Charles, for the 5, saying you are so tiny. Nuh-uh. No, I'm not. I am massive. And you know what else is massive? Drug abuse isn't a victimless crime, though. Uh-huh. And the cum in your mom's ass isn't mine. Would you like to share some other falsehoods? Shall we continue sharing falsehoods, or would you like to go back to telling the truth? Because me personally, I'd rather just tell the truth. What is going on? Don't worry about it. Yes, the low taper fade. Do you put yourself in the same category as women who are females? You mean in the women category? Yeah. Doesn't mean that I'm a biological female, but yeah, I would fit into the same social category. I don't see why not. Straw man fallacy because you can't debate? Really? Can you explain how anything that I said was a straw man fallacy? Aren't they a victim to themselves? That's like saying that people that cut themselves should be imprisoned and punished for it. Like, do you know how fucking stupid that is? Like, yeah. Oh, well, they're a victim themselves. Damn, that's crazy. Unfortunately, it appears that punishing them for being a victim to themselves doesn't do anything. And when I say victimless crime, I'm obviously referring to a crime that has no victims, as in, it is not a crime that negatively impacts others when you commit it. So if I do an illegal substance, right, I am not creating victims, all right? I don't have any victims. Maybe you could argue that I'm my own victim, right? That's just like some like dumb, useless semantic bullshit that doesn't matter. Your vibes are not female, just so you know. Damn, you're just giving up on like the face structure arguments. It's like HRT has done its job quite a bit, so now I look more androgynous. So it's like no more face structure arguments. Now it's your personality is very male coded. I can feel your XY chromosome male coded behavior. Now I will say that like I would be like maybe an external semi-passoid maybe, and like an internal hun. Maybe you could argue if you want to do like the 4chan brain rot route. But I don't know. That's the best argument you could make. Yeah, I'm actually an alpha male. Don't you know? Biological female is kind of a myth if you're really looking into it. Biology is complicated. Well, biology is complicated, but biological females exist. As doesn't negate that. But obviously it is more complex, right? I think what you're trying to get at is that it's more complex than just like a binary, right? It's actually a binomial distribution. If that's what you're trying to get into, I agree. That's something I've talked about. Let's see. I'm unassuming. Tells me the average age of this. Dude, I don't know. Dude, maybe I should just start age restricting all my content. Not because it's 18 plus, but just to like get rid of all like the fucking brain rot chatters. Just get rid of all the brain rot. Get rid of them all. Some nice energy you got there. Respect for real. Hell yeah. Yeah, but putting people in prison for an actual crime is one thing. Using isn't a crime, but committing a crime whilst high is a crime. Well, even if we're getting into like the committing a crime whilst high, or like under the influence, right? I do think that like, again, and I generally take a stance more in favor of rehabilitative justice in general, right? Like rather than just like, I don't know, like viewing an individual person as like the sole problem, like they are the sole problem that exists, right? Maybe try to like tackle the root cause of said problems, right? Otherwise, the recidivism rate is going to be, well, not good, right? Because ideally, the goal of the prison system should be to get people out of there and to have lower recidivism rates. You don't want people to reoffend, right? Or do the thing that, I don't know, was harmful to society or whatever, right? That should be the goal of prison, right? But in order to accomplish that, prisoners will need much better living conditions, right? They'll need to be treated nicer, right? Their well-being would have to be prioritized more than it currently is because they are not treated like human. They are not treated human. So, anyways, hello, submissive attention whore. I am not submissive. I am very dominant, I'll have you find. Do you support lesbians? Well, yeah, why not? How big is your man cock? Ask your mom, she'll know. Maybe treated like a real person, not a stray animal. That too. That too. Like, they gotta be treated like their own individual person, like a real fucking person. With kindness, compassion, understanding. You know. But not in like the sort of like patronizing, like, oh, aren't I such a good person for helping this poor, disgusting piece of shit out type of way. Because there are people like that. They won't explicitly say that, but that's sort of like the vibes that they give. I think you all know exactly what type of person we're talking about when we say that. I know people have lost the ability to empathize. Yeah. I don't know. I think that empathy is more selective than people realize. I think that for most people, empathy is most likely selective. I think that people are wrong, are generally going to, well, I think that people are generally wrong with the determinations they make about who deserves empathy and who doesn't, right? But hell, I make determinations about that all the time, right? Now, they're going to be obvious ones that we would all agree upon, right? Like, I don't have any empathy for, I don't know, Nazis or pedophiles or anybody like that. I don't have any empathy for serial killers, though. Serial killers are, I mean, aside from the fact that serial killers are kind of hot, like in theory, like in practice, well, okay, maybe I would experience too much empathy for serial. Look, fact of the matter is, empathy is selective for, I'd say, the majority of people. But people are wrong with what they select. All right. Proud to be a woman? Hell yeah. Feel like empathy is going extinct? I don't know. It's hard to say. I do think that, like, I think what we might be seeing is that people are more isolated, due to the fact that everyone's always on the internet. And, if people are spending all day inside, not interacting with others, and they're isolated and lonely. I mean, hell, this seems like a natural consequence to a loneliness epidemic, does it not? Actually, I didn't fully make that connection before. I mean, I did and I didn't. I didn't make it as directly as I am now. But the obvious and only possible ramification of a loneliness epidemic is a lack of empathy or social understanding, right? Like, your social intelligence, right? Your emotional intelligence will necessarily be lower, right? As a direct result of you not really ever engaging with your, emotional intelligence, because there aren't any situations for that, right? And to be honest, like, in a lot of ways, that's like, through no fault of their own. You know what I mean? Like, this is sort of the society we live in, right? And people being disconnected is going to be a reason, right? A reason. Right? It's not the reason or the only reason or whatever. Not even necessarily the biggest. I think it's definitely a catalyst for that. Pain is a catalyst for empathy. Yes, but lack of social interaction and feeling neglected can, in many cases, cause you to feel more detached. Look, there are two ways that it can go, all right, in terms of even just like attachment issues. You could either A, go the avoidant attachment style route, or B, the anxious style of attachment, which is like the opposite. Or C, if you're like me, you could do, I don't know, avoidant combined with anxious. That's like a thing, by the way. Heaven forbid you have a, I don't know, I guess, stable form of attachment. But yeah, no, I'd say that, like, I'd be whatever, anxious avoidant, mostly avoidant, right? But I feel like that's sort of a learned behavior in a way, right? Because that's like what society seems like to you. I mean, that sort of is where society is in a lot of ways. I don't know. Like, I don't think that anybody disagrees. Like, yeah, like, I don't know. Loneliness in society is a real issue, and it seems to be getting worse over time, gradually, right? People spend more time online, right? And I'm not gonna take the boomer position of, we just need to, like, take the phone away or whatever the fuck, right? That doesn't fix the issue, right? What would fix the issue is, I don't know, like, finding a way to incentivize other behaviors, making other behaviors more rewarding, regardless of, the fact that maybe they require a little bit more extra effort, right? I don't know. Like, it's like very strange because, like, if I go out anywhere in public, right, by myself, it's like, where would I meet anybody, right? Like, it always feels very lonely in a weird way. Because, like, aside from, like, I don't know, talking to, like, minimum wage employees that are forced to talk to you at whatever establishment you go to if you go somewhere, it's like, you don't want to bother anybody, right? It's like I don't want to bother people, so I just don't Like, cause like it would be weird if like a random person like approached some. Would it be weird? Actually, I don't know. I don't know. I would feel weird if I randomly approached some random person that I had never seen before and started talking to them. But like it just I don't know. It just like feels isolating because it's like here are all of these people and none of us are interacting with each other. And I find that fascinating. Uh-oh, did I lag? But yeah, I think the key to life is simplicity and freedom. I think it goes beyond that. I think it really depends. Charisma is key. Yeah, it certainly is. Lagios, okay, I think we're back. We better be back. I'm gonna be very disappointed if we're not back. Everyone is scary where I go. Yeah, I mean, people are scary. People are scary. Back? Okay. Yeah, charisma is definitely key. But beyond that, it is very interesting. You can go to just about anywhere in public, okay? And anywhere you go, pretty much anywhere you go, right? If there's people there, none of y'all are going to be interacting with each other. Maybe there'll be like a couple people sitting next to each other that like know each other from somewhere outside of there, right? Nobody's meeting anywhere. It's like people already sort of know each other. And I feel like that's got to be something that gets worse with age, right? It's like when you're growing up, right? Like in whatever, like elementary school. It's like, oh, I guess you're like, you just like kind of have to be around certain people constantly. So then maybe you end up being friends with the people in your class unless you're like an outcast. And surprisingly, I had friends, though they were very surface level friendships. But and then it, and over time it becomes like okay, now you have to become, and then like I think that like once you're in middle school, it's like you have to be like that there are like established friend groups, and you sort of have to like be like part of one of them, or like you just don't really belong anywhere. And I don't know. I belonged everywhere and nowhere at once. It was very strange. I remember I would like every week sit at a different lunch table every day. And, like people were cool with having me there. I would just like randomly move around because I was just like run out of things to talk about because it was like always like surface level shit, and it was just like shit was repetitive. It's like I don't know what the fuck else to say. The shit is lame. Because it's just, they'd all have different vibes. But and then in high school, it's basically like, okay, like, are you already friends with these people? And like, you meet people through friends of friends. In college, it's like, I guess for me in college, and maybe my perspective on it is a little bit warped, right? Maybe this is where like my own like bias comes in. It feels like I've like the most people I've met have been from dating apps or like online, weirdly enough. Like I meet people online first and then I meet them in real life. I don't know. I feel like it's a lot easier for me to talk to people online because I do it for a living. You know what I mean? Or part-time living. Okay, I don't make enough to do it for a full-time living, unfortunately. But I think you get the point. Anyways. There are a few ways, however, at the root of it is confidence is key. Hobbies and sports are a great way of connecting with people. Volunteering as well. Yeah, I've considered volunteering. Maybe it's something related to homeless people. I mean, classic, of course. I mean, they deserve help. I just need to find out, like, okay, what would be like a good day, time, place to do it at, etc. A good thing for me to do that doesn't conflict with other things that I already have going, and it's difficult, and I'm very easily stressed, but I like to start small talk with just about anyone if the atmosphere isn't weird. I've only ever regretted it once. Generally, from my experience, people are sweet IRL. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. In my experience, I can't do small talk. I'm terrible at it. I don't particularly like I want to like right off the bat start talking about some really autistic shit. All right? I want to either tell them about Trumpster Bob and explain the lore about Trumpster Bob to them for an hour, or I could talk about philosophy nerd shit. Maybe I could debate them on utilitarianism, or we could talk about Star Wars, or like there's a lot of things that we could talk about. right? I love tism info dumping. No, literally. And I'm sure it's insufferable to listen to. Because like I have had many instances in which like somebody is okay, there sometimes are like an autistic person will yap and it's like super interesting and it's like, yes, I give a fuck about this. Because I it's like I'm sort of amenable to this subject material. But then there's like there's also been cases where it's like, you're yapping about some shit I don't give a fuck about, and I'm zoning out, but I'm glad that you're talking to me. This is how human interaction works. Um, I like it when you talk to me. It's good. It means that like, you know, I my existence is being acknowledged successfully. Anyways, Mace Windu is the goat. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Mace Windu is the goat. Uh-oh, is it lagging again? Why is my shit always lagging? Why do I always get like the spinny circle thingy? Man, that shit's so annoying. Double tap the smash like if you hate the spinny circle thingy of destruction, which I most certainly do. Small lag. All right, I think we back now. It's fine now. Well, that's good news. Double tap the smash like. Dude, I wonder if we could get this stream back in the algorithm. I highly doubt it. You know, the statistical probability of that being the case is not very likely, unfortunately. But, oh well. Does HRT make your pee-pee small? Why don't you just go look up the side effects? Why do you need it? Yes, it makes your pee-pee small, unless you use it. If you use it on a at least semi-regular basis, I don't know. If you use it every day, it's not going to shrink at all. If you use it every other day, I don't think it'll shrink at all. But I don't know. If you want to guarantee it won't shrink, every day. Me personally, I don't give a fuck. Too much effort. Who cares? Not like I'm going to use it anyway. I mean, I did not admit to that, did I? Oh, well, oops. Oh, well. Anyways. All I'm going to say is, you know what? We're just going to move on. We're going to move on. Femyoz, shut up. Okay? Shut your bitch ass up. Goofy ah. Alright, I think what we're going to do, disastrous self-report. Shut the okay. You guys are deranged schizos. You seem sad and angry. Nah, I'm just a little bit sleep deprived. But I'm doing good. Maybe I should. Nah, it's 8:16, never mind. I should not take Adderall. That would be a really bad idea. To take afternoon Adderall. Yeah. Anyways. Because you're a bottom. I am not a bottom. Ufia mentioned. I wrap mine around my neck. Is that so? I just found you through the algorithm. But that's also my algorithm? Yeah. Yeah, it'd be like that. It'd be like that. I like it when your algorithm does that. I think more people's algorithms should do that. Yes, I'm 21. You know. I kind of like when we have like a bunch of new viewers and like I try to have them like guess my age. Do you know about Darth Jar Jar? Yes. Absolutely. Darth Jar Jar is my headcanon. I'm gonna be so real, like there is so much evidence. I think that like if Jar Jar Binks was to be like the reverse Yoda, right? Where it's like, okay, so like you know how like in Empire Strikes Back, obviously you have you know, Luke goes to Dagobah in order to meet Yoda, Grandmaster Yoda. Never seen him before, right? Right, and he you know, runs into this like whatever, like seemingly very insignificant, a bit annoying sort of little green frog looking creature, right? And it's like, oh shit, that's Master Yoda, right? Like, oh, well, I didn't fucking expect that, right? I sort of expect, like, sorry, not I sort of expect, I would sort of expect George Lucas to do something, but like in the opposite direction. Like that seems like his style of story creation. Does that make sense? Like that seems like it would fit within the realm of his storytelling. Like it's crazy and bombastic enough, yet also makes enough sense given the context of everything else that was set up to be something that George Lucas would do. Darth Jar Jar could have saved the sequel trilogy IMO. Unironically, yeah. Unironically, yeah. Like if Jar Jar was like pulling shit behind the scenes, though, I don't know. It wouldn't make as much sense to casual viewers. But like I would like, to see like an old sort of Jar Jar where it's like, I don't know, maybe it's like Darth Jar Jar. He's not like doing the voice or whatever. He's not doing the fake voice. You hear his like real voice. Obviously it'll still be voiced by Ahmad Best, but it'll be like he'd do like I don't know, the Sith Lord Jar Jar. As funny as it would be to be like, Sith Lord Jar Jar, but still like, you know, having that speech pattern or whatever. Like I'd like to think that like, okay, like if it's a Sith Lord, then that Sith Lord is very good at deception, right? And part of that deception is going to be the speech pattern, right? They want to come across as annoying and insignificant as possible, because if they're annoying, then everyone will try to avoid them and ignore them, and that would sort of be the goal, and that would be successful. It would fit well within a Sith Lord's motivations. Honestly, it would have been better. Yeah, as much as I love Count Dooku, and think he's great, uh, I think that like if on the Battle of Geonosis, if it instead of fighting Count Dooku, Yoda had fought Darth Jar Jar, it's like revealed that like Jar Jar is like actually Sidious's master, right? And like he's like super powerful and shit, and it's like him and Yoda are like basically equals in the Force, right? Or maybe he's even stronger. Who knows? But yeah, Revenge of the Sith is by far my favorite. Yeah, mine too. Revenge of the Sith always goes hard. Revenge of the Sith always goes hard. Count Dooku was a good man. My goat deserved better. Well, it depends if we're talking about like sort of Legends EU material or canon, because like I think that in Legends EU material, dude was like an actual fascist. Like he was like super, like he was like super racist. Like secretly he was like super racist against like alien species, and his motivation for siding with Palpatine and whatnot and orchestrating the Clone Wars is he wanted like a human centric government. So if we're talking about that version of Dooku, like nah, bro had it coming to him. But I think that the canon version of Dooku isn't like that. I think that the canon version of Dooku is somebody that had good intentions, but yeah. Oh shit, I lagged. Ope lag, yeah, it'd be like that. It really do be like that. But yeah, no, no, I'm gonna be real, like, but yeah, I'm pretty sure in canon, Dooku is sort of like what you described, like the sort of well-intentioned, wise, political idealist sort of guy, right? But he fell to the dark side, right? But he was morally complex, right? I think he's more morally complex in canon. I think. I could be wrong. I don't know. That might be like if that's canon and like the less morally complex one is EU expanded universe like Legends or whatever, and it's not canon. I actually prefer canon for once, which is strange. Normally I don't prefer canon. Did you watch season 2 of Andor? Yes, it was so good. It was so good. I'd say it was on par with the first season, if not. I'd say as a whole it was better, though my favorite episodes period from Andor have got to be the entire prison arc. Obviously, I feel like that's like a basic white bitch take at this point for everyone that's watched Andor, but that shit was so good. I am so happy to see that shit getting the praise that it deserves. Still, even like what has it been like? How many years ago did the first season of Andor release? I mean, autism talk. I love Andor. Yeah. Star Wars autism is strong in this one. Yeah. I feel very sorry if I'm isolating anyone that doesn't know shit about Star Wars and is like, what the fuck are you yapping about? Though to be fair, they probably just scroll away. Anyways. 3 years? Yeah. It's like 3 years later and everyone is like still like, yeah, that shit is fucking goated. That shit is crazy good. It is. Oh. It is peak. I remember watching the escape sequence and still my favorite episode. Still my favorite episode. I was just I knew I think, yeah, I think as soon as I saw where the prison arc was going, I realized like, okay, this is by far like the best Star Wars content. This is arguably better than the first 6 movies. Like in terms of like objective quality, like in terms of the writing quality, I would actually argue that it probably is. But there's a personal opinion. It's like kind of close. I don't know, because like obviously, I'd say that like obviously like the first 6 movies will always hold a special place in my heart, and I do have you know as much as Anakin is blinded by love in Revenge of the Sith, I am blinded by nostalgia, and you know, so I think that the first 6 movies will always be my favorite or whatever, but especially Revenge of the Sith, which holds the most special place in my heart. It's like, bro, when I was a little kid, I had that shit fucking memorized in my mind. Cause I watched Revenge of the Sith the most. I love you, so beautiful. Do you guys want to listen to a schizophrenic person yap for a little bit while I go pee? Well, I don't care if you said no, because you're gonna listen to it anyway, because I really need to pee. And you're not gonna get any context unless you were here many hours ago. Alright, anyways, be right back.
And then in the daytime, I'd be resting. We had light-proof drapes, and I'd stay indoors and never get near the sun. But gradually, it got worse, like any addiction. And I tell people I've got 2 books. Lucifer Throne discusses this, and also a more recent book that I wrote 10 years ago or so called Romancing Death, about the whole vampire. I mean, now vampires, there was this crest, of interest in that with the Interview with a Vampire, and then with the Twilight stuff, and it's kind of faded a bit, but thankfully. But anyway, it's like you need more and more blood. You need more, and I was really having bloodlust to the point that I'd be driving around in the middle of the night doing this thing with my newspapers, and if I'd see like a hooker out there or like a homeless person wandering around or something or other, it literally took everything I had to not jump on them and just kill them. So at that point is when the Almighty intervened with the lady writing the check, and I told that story last time. So he pulled me away from the brink. Praise God. But yeah, that was it was terrifying. People think, oh, it's romantic to be a vampire. Well, no, it isn't. And I never was a full-blown vampire, because what I was told is that when I went through this initiation, and that at some point I would just die and become a full-fledged vampire and undead. Nosferatu is the Romanian word. And ironically enough, they just came out with that movie a few months ago called Nosferatu, which is based on not ancient, but a silent film from the 1920s of the same name. So the vampire thing's still out there. I mean, and it's real. And now, like we document in the Romancing Death book, there are nightclubs in big cities where you can go and drink each other's blood. Just like, there are gay bars, there are vampire bars where people will go and, swap blood with one another. And it's regarded as kinky, and it often is a prelude to some sort of perverted sex. And it's becoming huge. And of course, the reason that the Bible tells us, and both in the Torah and in the Old Testament, and also in the book of Acts, Acts chapter 15, don't drink blood.
Yeah, so in case you didn't know, this guy is anti-fun. He's the fun police. No, how dare you have fun sex? No. Anything that's not missionary is degenerate. But yeah, anyways. For anyone who doesn't have context, we were watching and making fun of that earlier. So, yeah. The red skirt goes so hard for me. I love it. Hell yeah. I'm getting tired, chat. What do I do? I need water, I think. I need water. Oh, it's so hard to stay energetic for a long period of time, especially when I'm sleep deprived. Yeah, we're talking about gay vampire bars. You've got a point. Server VCIDK. Well, we have multiple hours of streaming left. I want to keep going. EPOs. I mean, come on. I can't end stream super early. I started early, but that doesn't mean I get to end early. That was surprisingly entertaining to watch. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons I was covering it. Drink lots of it. Yeah. Because it's so late. It's 8:29 p.m. for me. That is not late. It's actually still nighttime. Yeah, but like, okay, who above the age of 10 years old goes to bed at 8:30 p.m.? Okay? You think like no, I go to bed at 4 a.m. like a real adult. And then I wake up at 3 in the afternoon the next day. Or well, it's same day technically. Like for me it's 3 a.m. for me. Well then go sleep, goofy. Go to sleep. Why aren't you sleeping? At 16, my parents made me go to bed at 8:30. Well, that's weird as shit. That's dumb. Bro, I don't know, hated the idea of that type of shit. I don't know. I just like view it as like a control mechanism, which is probably what it was. I was like, dude, I don't know. I don't like being controlled by other people unless it's somebody that I want to control me. You know? I have to want them to control me for me to... You know what? That's very circular. What I meant to say, okay, maybe I didn't make it very clear, is, I guess I want to be able to decide who has what control over me and when and how, kind of. So ultimately, I get like a sense of control in that way. Kinky, so you're a sub. Shut up. Look, there is insufficient evidence, okay? Yeah. I hope Summer's been doing well. I'm gonna message her again today. She's been like kind of inactive lately, so we haven't gotten to talk as much, sadly. But now she gets busy, and so do I. So, yeah. Anyways, I also need to fix this sleep schedule for real. Yeah, it might unironically be easier to do like, because I noticed when I'm like trying to be higher energy for stream, I feel like I also start talking faster. A lot faster. I was like, damn, like I sound like fucking XQC almost. I'm trying to like slow down. Because like that just like makes it even more draining. If I'm like talking super fast and trying to be high energy and sort of doing it as a performance art. Here, I'm sort of doing it again. Not XQC though. Yeah, it's because you can actually hear the words that I'm saying. Like it's that I pronounce them correctly. Elios, looks like I missed the streams. No worries. No worries. I'm probably gonna start another one. In order to, you know, do good in the algorithm. It'll be like a more chill than this. It'll be, or alternatively, we could, well, no, there's two possible. Okay, well, it's gonna be more of like a, you know, it might just be easier to turn my microphone up and just do that and talk quieter. Because unironically, like if it's like an actually chill stream, I feel like it does just as good. Like when I was talking about Olive Oil Run, it was very late at night and people were sleeping, so it was like I had to be like almost ASMR, like approaching ASMR levels of quiet in order to not wake anybody. But like that stream did so fucking well. Also, thank you, Ma, for the £2 saying this made me feel better, so thanks. Enjoy vamp sex. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. So I'm not gonna end stream yet. But I'm going to, it'll lag for a second, but it's gonna keep going. So don't leave, don't leave, don't leave. Alright? I just need to give me a sec. It will literally be 5 seconds. Stay here, please. Hold on. And we are back. Very sorry about the very small interruption. What can I say? Alright. Very sorry about that. Did not mean to have such a big ol' interruption. We don't want those big ol' interruptions. You're the only person I've heard that I could actually be happy with for ASMR. Yeah, that's fascinating to me because I have no experience with ASMR. I don't know what I'm doing at all. Right? You know what I mean? Like I have no my only experience is literally doing it as like a joke on stream and then people unironically liking it and then I'm like, well, I guess that's what the people want. So, you know, I anyways, yeah. Yes, we are so back. We are so back. All right. Hello, Gear Wyvern. Hope you're doing well. Hello, Phoenix. Hello, Ace Lucas. Hello, Carson. Hello, Mitzi. Or Misty. Fuck, I am definitely literate, I swear. I'm totally capable of reading things, don't you worry. But yeah, I'm just gonna get this ready for the thingy. Boo-boo-boo. Put that in the playlist. No other content. Femyoz. Chill. Trans. Girl. Stream. Save. Sorry, I'm just setting up the next one. I'm not gonna start it yet. I think maybe we could decide like what content to go over on that. That could be interesting. Since you guys are like sticking around, you know what I mean? You guys get to decide the content, I think. Because y'all are like, you know, y'all are the most real ones for sticking around. Okay, I feel like I can just listen and relate without worrying about bad opinions. Real. Lesbian vampires. Okay, it has to be like, okay, it's going to be multiple choice because I know you guys are going to come up with deranged shit. Okay, you guys are going to say deranged things. Things that are like the opposite of not deranged, okay? If you can believe that. And, yeah. I don't know. I guess we could go fishing for content. We could go dumpster diving. Dude, this guy called Lord of Patriarchy is streaming. Dude, I forgot. Is he? Oh, streamed 3 hours ago. Oh, maybe I gotta refresh it. Vampire says being Lex ASMR, Obama vibes. Good stuff. Trumpster Bob is live. Trumpster Bob is live. We could talk about Trumpster Bob on our next stream. That's definitely an option. Yeah. T3, total tipster domination. Trumpster Bob is AGP. This is true, by the way. Very much is AGP. I know. Trumpster Bob gives off autogynophile vibes. All right. ASMR, more like a gay ASMR. Trumpster Bob. Oh, you don't know who Trumpster Bob is. Ooh, there's a lot of lore. There's a lot of lore. Perhaps I could teach you about it if you want. If y'all want me to talk about it. Bro, oh my god. I get so many DMs. Holy shit. God damn. No, I don't want streamer mode on. I want to actually know who the fuck people are. Okay, alright, sorry. I was just looking at this. Okay. Fuck. Discord VC discussions? Nah, I'm probably not gonna do that. Oh, man. I am kind of tired, though. So I will need something easy to go over. I still don't believe Trumpster Bob is real. Yeah, I mean, he exists. Either that or we could, like, react to ASMR content, I guess. It's like ASMR, but I'm the listener type deal. What should I do next? Question mark. Just chatting. Trumpster Bob. Hold on. Mommy ASMR, but I'm the listener. And What else? I'm trying to think. We could do Elon versus Trump. Elon versus Elon x Trump. Yeah, Elon x Trump, because then it sounds like a ship. Like they're being shipped together. Elon x Trump breakup. Femi to EP to act like a dom. All right. I don't know. I don't know how many of you saw the stream where I was like watching ASMR and responding as if I was the listener. But yeah, you guys get to decide what y'all want. And if it's a tie, then maybe I'll just, I don't know. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, just vote for whatever you want. I'm not going to show what percentages are because I feel like as soon as I show the percent, for whatever reason, every time I do a poll, if I show the percentages, people start voting differently, I guess. Or maybe not. I don't know. I could be wrong about that. There's a good chance that I am and that I just am seeing patterns that don't exist. All right. I'll leave this up for like a minute, but I think we have a clear winner. Right? It's pretty unambiguous who's winning. Seems to be the case that, well, yeah, I could show the percent. All right. Do. Oh, we see the percent. Well, yeah, after you vote, right? Well, this is the winning option. Or do you see it like only after you vote or before you vote? Because I thought you could only see it after you vote. Yeah, after? Okay, I don't care about people seeing it after they vote. Like, yeah, of course. Of course you see it after you vote. Duh. No shit. Okay. I was gonna say. Otherwise, it's like a bad design. Anyways, it's at 41%, bruh. How fitting. Well, it's at 39% now, so I don't think it's gonna change. Give it a little bit more. And yeah. It's funny because like whatever content I've done like the most recently, or like overdone or not done enough, or should do more of, like I feel like this is like a good way of sort of getting a gauge for that, right? So like it used to be the case that like when I was more focused on like, I don't know, making fun of conservatives or whatever, or like finding like some crazy person to make fun of, or like a lol cow, if I did a poll like this, just chatting would get like the overwhelming consensus, right? Because like people weren't used to just chatting. Well, now it's like, okay, well, I've done a fuck ton of just chatting. It's like all you guys have been getting. So now it's like, oh shit, what about this other thing that we got to experience a little bit of? How about more of this? And it's like, all right, fair enough. We'll do that. I guess I'm not surprised that the mommy ASMR, but I'm the listener one. I kind of wanted to do that one anyway. Yeah. Oh, I need some more water. And then your stream is dying. I'm aware. I'm very aware. Don't worry about it. Hold on. And then that's the unlisted one. And then I'm gonna obviously make it so that for PC users, maybe it'll redirect. I don't know if it'll actually redirect. Okay, that. And then I gotta add a thumbnail. Because of course. Not add a thumbnail. And then. Oh man, I'm so tired. Alright. Shorts, thumbnails. This. Save. aren't saying hi Fitzies anymore. Did I do something? No, I'm sorry. I'm literally just tired. Normally I say I also usually just say hi when people are here at the beginning of the stream. Maybe you weren't. I don't know. But hello Fitzies. Hope you're doing well. Unless YouTube shadow banned you or something, but I don't think so because I see you right now. Unless it's like a different account. I don't know. Sometimes people get shadow banned by YouTube. It's like very annoying. And like they'll create an alt and they'll be like, "Oh, can you unhide me?" And I'm like, "Okay." And I like search them and it's like, no, they were never like false banned. Nobody banned them. They weren't hidden. It's just like YouTube shadow banned them. It's like very annoying. Just changed PFP and name. Yeah, fair. Unlisted? No. The stream I'm about to start is currently unlisted. Right, so I like set it up, but it'll go public as soon as I go live on that one. Right, so it's like dormant. So it's like YouTube views it as like an upcoming one, but I put it as unlisted. That makes sense? But yeah. Anyways. I do have to say, I did enjoy rattling off random shit to everyone earlier. It lost its luster though. I might have lost a couple IQ points. Yeah, fair. It kind of be like that. You know what? Before we start the next stream, may I suggest potentially what we could do? Chat, while it's just me and you guys, is potentially, I don't know, maybe we create like a small playlist of what we look at. I feel like something like that could work. I don't know. I feel like that'd be a lot easier to do while we're like in like this like sort of like small sort of cozy ass fucking only you guys, only the real ones are here. You know. Maybe could you say hi to Nyx, Sid, Zayla, and Little? Don't want to leave anyone in the system. Oh yes, hello Nyx, Sid, Zayla, and Little. Hope you're doing well. You better be doing well, or else I'm gonna be sad. Anyways, that's very sweet, actually. Yeah, that sounds fun. Okay, mommy ASMR. Do we do F for F or F for A? What do you guys think? It's up to you guys. So you guys voted for this. F for A. F for A. Both. I don't really care about the labels. Yeah, fair. I always have a preference for F for F or F for, like I'll listen to F for M. Like it doesn't bother me that much, but it's like I have a preference. You know, you do mommy ASMR. I am way too tired to do it, dude. I don't think we're not gonna do the. If I search, the first one that shows up is an age regression one. We're not doing that on stream. And we're definitely not doing another ketamine stream for this similar reason. F for F for you then. Dude. Let's see here. 2 years ago. Let's see. Or should I do like, okay. And let me know if there's any suggestions. I'm trying to like see, because like a lot of, these are like hour long. I don't know if that's mommy ASMR. It seems like too normal to be that. Soft mommy girlfriend hipster baby girls and anxiety. But I'm not that anxious right now. Dude, I'm getting a bunch of ones that are for littles. Don't ask why that's what YouTube is recommending me. No, I want to see the Ajir one. Dude, YouTube knows what you like. Shut up, okay? We're not doing this on... we're not doing this, okay? We're McDonald's is... Oh my god. Dude, I should have mentioned it, because half y'all motherfuckers are also a Jeer. So it's like, god. This is the one time, never mind. Never mind. I'm just gonna make it worse if I say that. Oh, we've got... Or should we do like the deranged yandere ones? Hold on, wait. If we do yandere mommy ASMR FRF, then we get some like psychotic ones. All right, that's what we need. All right, it's like the one where, dude, poly cafe owners kidnap you, part 1. Oh, let's go. Dude, wait, F for A, yandere adopts you, kidnapping, possessive, unwilling question. Unwilling. Oh, let's go. Let's fucking go. Dude, we're not doing it. Yes, that one, please. Wait, which one? The store one? We could do that. But I kind of like the idea of unwilling. Okay, wait. You know, for content, of course, not because, you know. All right, let me add those to queue. Let's see. No, that's sleep aid. Waking. So, okay, so right now we have part 1, FF for F. Poly yandere cafe owners kidnap you. F for A, yandere adopts you, kidnapping, possessive, unwilling. We watched this one on stream, and I think this one on stream. I think. Or, I mean, I would definitely not watch that off stream. What do you mean? Okay. I think those were all on stream, right? Wait, where was the one I was about to add? Where was it? I thought I was about to add one. Oh, yeah, here's another one. Waking up to an insane yandere, forcefully cuddling you and making you hers. That's pretty good. Okay. Yo. Ambiguous ASMR? A for A. Bought by a vampire? Ambiguous ASMR. Do we do that? The description says you awake in a dark, damp basement. Oh, that sounds great. That's awful. Oh, this is awful and awesome. Or wait. Yeah, awful. This. Dude. Let's see. Well, we'll add that to the queue. Because, you know. Alright, what else? Ruthless yandere billionaire blackmails you into marriage. FF for A. Manipulative. Oh, but it's an hour. We'll watch a small portion of it if we get to it. All right, that way we won't run out of content. Dude. Yandere insane obsessive therapist. Keeps you forever and makes you hers. ASMR. Oh, that's great. The more specific, the better. Dude, Mafia Boss? Dude, do we do the Mafia Boss one? The Goddess one? Wait, where's the Goddess one? I don't know where the... Dude. I think we should definitely do the Mafia Boss one. Wait, sacrificed to a god. Where? Oh, sacrificed and saved by a goddess. This one. There it is. Okay. Alright, I think we have enough content. We're not gonna get through it all. Alright. So we have... Alright, Alright. No way we're gonna get through all this. I'll put the one that's an hour at the end. Yay, basement time. Oh my god, why is this thing not working? Okay. Okay, that works. And then I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and then I'm gonna restart stream. Don't leave, alright? I'm still here. I just need to pee real quick. I'm surprised there's so many to choose from. Most of my faves got banned. Yeah, see, you can't make fun of me. You're, like, worse than I am in that regard. You're, like, if I'm down bad, you're down horrific, okay? You're not allowed to make fun of me anymore. I tagged you in one, fem? Alright. How do I find notifications? I don't see it. I'm gonna be real. 6 minutes ago. No, that's not. I'm gonna be so real. I don't see it. I see notifications for YouTube comments and videos. Where did you tag me? Okay. We'll worry about it later. We have plenty of content. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and then I'll be back, and then I'll start the next stream. So... community posts? Okay, I'll take a look later. Maybe we'll do that on another stream. I don't know. We already have a bunch of shit that we're not gonna get through it all, I don't think. I doubt. You're still a bottom? Shut up. No, I'm not. Alright, be right back. And then I will be back, and I'll wrap up the stream and start the next. I'm over here. Why is it... What? There we go. That was weird. That was very, very strange, to say the very least. I don't know why my camera was doing that. That was so weird and wacky. Body T Femi. Crazy hours, crazy one. Oh my god, we're still doing this. Y'all are still doing that? Okay. Also, to anyone that's just joining in, I'm about to end this stream and start a new one, so make sure to subscribe with notifications on and refresh the fuck out of my page until you see the next stream if you want to keep watching me. In order to get the algorithm boost, we're gonna be, I guess, we're gonna be doing mommy ASMR, but I'm the listener, okay? And I get to, like, respond as the listener with all of my intrusive thoughts. At least that's the idea behind it. Unless I, like, fold or something. But that would never happen because I would never fold them. I am not foldable. I am immune. Though I am kind of eepy, so I don't know. I better keep my guard up, you know? Anyways. Alright. See y'all in literally 2 seconds, actually.